All right, so is the WordPress economy shrinking? And if so, what are you going to do about it? And is it really even shrinking after all? So those are some of the questions we're going to be tackling today in our Facebook Live chat. So if you have a chance to go ahead and leave a note or a comment below, and then I will know that you're here. So I can see people following the video, but I don't know who they actually are unless you leave a comment. So go ahead and do that. And let me know that you were here. And if you have a question, go ahead and leave that question as well. So what we're going to be talking about today is, what do you do if the clients you're talking to today are willing to pay less than the clients you were talking to, say, maybe 6 months ago or last year? And is the WordPress economy actually shrinking? If so, what do you do about it? And, and what's actually happening? And so my contention is that the WordPress economy is not actually shrinking. It's just different now than it used to be. And so what do I mean by that, and how do I know? And so the reason that I don't think the WordPress economy is shrinking is because if you look at the stats about how many WordPress sites are out there, how much, what the WordPress market share is, all of that stuff, we talked about this I think maybe about 6 or 8 weeks ago, we talked about the WordPress economy overall, and it's pretty clear that WordPress isn't going anywhere and it's not actually shrinking, but the marketplace, the way that you interact with clients, that sort of thing is in fact changing. So hey, I see there's a couple people following more now than before. Go ahead and leave your name in the comments below, or just say hi so I know that you're here, and then I can tell who's watching. So go ahead and do that if you want to say hello, or if you have a question. So so with all that being said, what's different now than before, and how can we as like WordPress freelancers do something about it? Like what do we need to do to change the way that we run our business so that we can actually help our clients better, so that we can get more clients, so we can get higher paying clients, all of that stuff. And so I don't think that fewer people are using WordPress overall. And even if they were, there's still a ton of WordPress sites out there. But here are the ways that the WordPress marketplace has changed, and pretty dramatically too, over the last, let's say, year or so. So one way is, these free site builders or low-cost site builders like Wix and Squarespace are out there now. They keep getting better. And hey, Marcia, or I'm not sure how to say it, but I think Marcia is the way that you say that. It's good to see you. Thanks for showing up. So the thing about it is there's Wix, there's Squarespace, and Wix. In fact, I don't work too much really with Squarespace, but we do a fair amount of work with Wix in the past. And you can get a free website there. You don't even have to pay for a domain name really. And so Rico, hey, good to see you. And the cool thing about that for clients is, if you have a client or somebody who just wants to take their Word documents and put that copy on the page, and they can do that themselves. And so that's kind of cool. So if you're a business owner, you just want to you're just trying out a brand new idea, you don't have any customers or clients or anything out, you just kind of want to put together a proof of concept website or something like that, then a free Wix website is a really cool idea. Another good example for that would be if you're working with a band, of musicians or whatever, and musicians notoriously don't have any money, and you can just refer them over to a Wix website where people can just kind of see what's going on, and that's perfectly fine for those contexts. But the problem is, if you're trying to sell high value WordPress sites, and the outcome that you're going to be delivering is pretty much the same outcome that somebody could get for themselves on Wix, then what you're doing is you're competing against them just not feeling like doing it, right? So if they've already written their content, they could either give the content to you, or they could put the content on a Wix website themselves. And so if you go and say, I'm going to charge you, $5,000 or whatever to do that, then they're going to say, what? Either they'll find someone to do it cheaper, or they'll just do it themselves for free. And so it's really difficult to sell a high value website when the outcome of what you're delivering is pretty much the same as what everyone else is delivering, and pretty much the same as what people could do on their own by themselves. So that's a big issue. Another way that the WordPress marketplace is changing is a lot of people already have websites to begin with. So it used to be the case that you could go out and say, to pitch clients on getting a website for the first time. And now it's much more about website redesigns or optimizing websites and things like that. So it's really important to change the way that you approach clients, because if you show up to a client or whatever, or a potential client, or even if it's a cold call or something like that, and your pitch is, let me build you a website, the client's going to hear, well, I already have a website. I don't need you to build me a website. I already have one, and then everything else just shuts down. So how do you overcome that? What can you do? So the thing to do about that is, rather than pitching a whole new website redesign, start with something small that you can do with the website they already have. And so that's like a big thing, because that'll get your foot in the door. And if you start with something small that actually generates results for your clients, then that's going to be the kind of thing where after that little thing happens, then you can say, let me see if now that we have this thing in place, let's do another thing and another thing, and you start working your way up this value ladder. And the longer that you work with the client, the more value you deliver, the more revenue that you're able to generate from all of that. And now you've got this ongoing relationship with the client. You're generating recurring income off of that because you keep doing more things. And even better than just doing individual more things is put people on like a retainer, so that you can be monitoring these things that you're setting up. And there's so many different things that you can do. I can't really get into it right now. There's just so many different things. It depends on what your client sells or does. But if that's the kind of thing that you're interested in doing, that's the kind of thing we could absolutely talk about, like on a one-on-one basis. So if you're looking for ways to get your foot in the door, how to start with something small so you can work your way up to something bigger. If you want to know what kind of rates can you charge for that stuff? How can you set up recurring revenue with that sort of stuff? Go ahead and schedule a call with me, and let's talk about that. I'll talk specifically to you. I've got my calendar on the website at doublestack.net/call. And it's actually my personal calendar. So it's not just like everybody that's here, but it's like my personal calendar, and you and I will actually talk one-on-one and figure this sort of stuff out. Like, how can you do these things? And so you can go to doublestack.net/call. You'll see my calendar. Pick a time that works for you. I've tried to make as many time slots open as I can, because it's really important to me to connect with you guys on this topic. And then after you pick the time, there'll be this little form, a couple of questions where you can tell me a little bit more about what you do, what your business is, kind of people you work with, so that I'll be ready to give you as much value as I can when we talk on the phone. It'll be about a 45-minute call. So if that sounds cool, head over and do that. And so back to the main point, though, is it's very difficult to pitch a full-blown website redesign when somebody already has a website. And so if you say something like, your website stinks, or you mock their website or something like that, that's just a really hard sell, a really hard thing to actually talk to somebody about. And wouldn't it be better if you could actually go in there and say, maybe, here's one possible idea is like, hey, just start with managing a Facebook page or something like that, or start with just helping with social media, or start with just helping with some kind of online marketing thing with the website they already have. And that's the kind of stuff we can talk about, how to set that stuff up. And then when you do that, that kind of gets the ball rolling. And it's a different way to approach clients than before, because now most people have websites already, and you can help by optimizing the site overall, rather than saying, hey, you know what, you just wasted all your money on that site. Let me build you a brand new site. And here's what I see happening so often, and this is one of the things that's caused our overall client base to be so skeptical of web designers and developers and WordPress freelancers trying to sell them more stuff, because the thing that they oftentimes sell leaves the customer no better off than they were before. So for example, it's pretty common for someone to say, hey, you know what, you need to have your website be responsive now, because so many people are using mobile devices. You got to get your site mobile ready. And yeah, that's true. You do. It's a good idea. It's a good thing to have your site mobile ready, but you can't really sell that to a client very easily, because it doesn't mean anything to most people. How many people are even using mobile devices to view their site? That's something you might want to figure out beforehand. And is that really the issue? Is the issue that people are on mobile devices going to your client's website and having a bad experience because the site's not mobile ready? Maybe it is. It could be, but maybe it's not. And so before you go and sell a whole website redesign based on mobile responsiveness, figure that out first. Talk to the client first. Take a look at what's going on. And maybe it's a much bigger deal to do something else other than that. Maybe it's a much bigger deal to help them out with a newsletter, or build an email list, or whatever, And so when you're approaching clients about these types of things, then the way that we're shifting the way we talk about this stuff from building a brand new website to helping with the website they already have, that's a fundamental difference. And that's a much easier thing to talk about. And now you're sort of on the same team. You're not asking people to throw out an investment that they've already made in exchange for a brand new investment, which may or may not have any actual return on that benefit. And so that's like a big thing. So another way that the whole thing is shifting is if there's so many more people selling really low cost websites. So a lot of times, it used to be the case that a client might call you up and say, hey, I want to build this website. Here's what I want to put on the site, but I can't actually do it myself, and therefore, can you do it for me? And so, and oftentimes you might be like a word of mouth referral, or some kind of a friend, just sort of some sort of a relationship is already in place, and and so they feel like you're the only person who can do it. Well, now that's not really the case. Now anybody can just go to like Upwork, or even on like Craigslist, you can find people that are able to like implement a WordPress site for you. And so one of the things that's making it difficult to sell high value websites is there's so many more people that are able to do that now. People overseas, people, willing to just work for nothing, people that are just kind of starting out or brand new at everything, don't have any family responsibilities, don't have any bills to pay. It's nothing for them to build, like we talked about the $50 WordPress site. How are you supposed to compete with people selling websites for $50? If that's what it's going to be, you might as well stop and not do that anymore, because there's no money in it. And you just can't, even if you want to help people, there's nothing there to really make it worth your while. So rather than competing with that, rather than just being the kind of person who listens to what somebody wants and just does it, turn the tables around a little bit. And instead of doing that, listen to what they want and then begin to offer more value. And I know I'm always reluctant to say the word offer more value, or that phrase has been used so much and it doesn't mean anything anymore. And it's like, yada, 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 offer more value. Okay, yeah. But what I actually mean by that is, so if you're going to somebody who already has a WordPress site, why don't you like look at the site before you start talking to them, and like just have in your mind some recommendations of things that could be better, or maybe ask it, hey, can I look at your web stats? Do you have any web stats? You'd be shocked at the number of people who have no idea if anyone's actually visiting their website. So like simply installing web stats, which is, you could do like Google Analytics if you want to, or or something more simple for them to understand. We can make recommendations on that sort of stuff. But whatever, just like, if you don't even know if people are coming to this, that's one of those things that people like us, we always just assume, okay, everybody's got at least Google Analytics installed or something, so you can know who's there. But like most, there's a lot of businesses out there have absolutely no idea what kind of traffic they're getting, if they're getting, people falling off on a particular page or whatever. So that's the kind of thing, so before you just throw out the old site, why don't you see what things are going well with the old site, what things are not going so well with the old site? And even deeper than that, why does your client even want the website, right? So like ultimately your client wants the website to get clients for themselves, right? To get their message out, to get to basically have this window on the internet where people can look in and check out their shop. But deeper than that, it's like, what action does your client want people to actually take? So it could be, I want people to come in to my office and, see me because I'm a doctor, or I want people to call me on the phone so that I can talk to them about what I'm doing, or I want people to like subscribe to my email list. So if I'm a band member or if I'm an author or whatever, and I'm going to show up and do a book signing or have a new gig somewhere, I want to be able to blast out to everybody where I'm going to be and what I'm doing. That's really what I want people to do. And so you really need to dig down deep and to be like, why is it that somebody would want the website? Because if you don't know that, you don't have any idea whether mobile responsiveness matters. Of course it matters. It's going to help you with Google and search engines and stuff. And, so of course it matters, but mobile responsiveness is not one of the features that sells a website. It's one of the things that disqualifies you from selling the website. It's not like a thing that people really want. It's a thing that if you don't have it, then they don't want your stuff. So it's like, there's a difference there. There's one of those, some things that, I really want to have that kind of a feature on my site. That's great. Let's do it. And then it's kind of like when we were talking about buying the apples, like if everybody's walking around, selling bags of apples, you're in the grocery store, you want to buy some apples, you see one bag of apples, and then right next to it, you see another bag of apples. They both look pretty much the same. You pick the least expensive bag of apples. Well, the thing about that is like if one of the bags of apples has worms in it and the apples are rotting, then that just disqualifies the bag of apples. It doesn't make all the other apples better. It just means that particular one is off the charts, off the list. And so that's the kind of thing about mobile responsiveness and SEO optimization and all of these like kind of technical things. First of all, your client probably doesn't really understand what that even means. Secondly, fixing those aspects of the site, that's just like a step along the path to getting a better benefit. It's not the benefit itself. So if you really want to get somebody involved with, the process of getting a website, you want to get to the benefits first. You don't want to talk about the steps along the way. You want to talk about the actual thing. And that's what people care about. That's how you differentiate yourself. That's a really big deal. So there's that. So we've talked about, there's more free ways to build websites. There's more ways that people can build websites on their own. There's more people out there willing to build websites for really low cost or free. And so one of the things that's kind of changed over the past few years is all of that stuff is there now, where it used to not really be. Like the free website builders used to just be awful, hard to use, just pretty much terrible in every way. And now they're only terrible in some ways, right? They're a lot better in some of the ways, especially with the ability for people to actually build their own site. But they're still terrible in other ways, like for SEO. And like, I don't know if you've ever tried to build a Wix site, but like all the different pages of a Wix website aren't actually pages really. It's like this giant JavaScript app, and like you're clicking links and you think you're going to pages, but it's really just like different views of this long thing. And it's just makes a mess out of your website. You can't really tell what's going on. But so like, but like clients don't know about that. They don't really care about that. If all they want is just to put their content on the site. So to be able to differentiate what you're doing from that is a big deal. So, okay, so we got the free website builders that are better now. We got more people in the marketplace, and we've got more people that already have websites overall. And so because of that sort of change in the way that things are going, then we need to change the way that we talk about what we offer as WordPress freelancers, and like, what is it? So why is working with you better than working with somebody else? Like have some specific reasons as to why that's the case. And on top of that, like what outcome can you deliver that's better than other people? Okay, here's another one. This just came to mind. I was actually saving this for a future talk, but I'm going to touch on it right now. This is a really big deal. Like one of the main things that people tell me as to the problems, like when we talk about what's the problem with building a site, one of the major things that people have trouble with is getting content from their clients to put on the website. And so like the content issue is huge. It's like, so people wait for like long periods of time with no content, and that stalls out the project, makes it take forever. And you can't launch the site until you get the content. You can't charge in the bill for the website and actually collect a payment for having all that work you've done until you actually get the words to put on the page. And so you're waiting for your client to write all this stuff. And see, but here's the thing. It's not really, your client's not, it's just not like being a butthead about it or whatever. Oftentimes clients, they don't know how to write content. It's really hard to do a good job at that. And so oftentimes what happens is you wait all this time, and then finally somebody's like, all right, fine, we finally got to get the website out. And so somebody writes some words, and then they send it over to the web developer, and then the web developer just copies and pastes it out of a Word document or something and plops it on a page. And most of the time they don't even read the words. And so how as a web developer do you even know if the copy's any good? And so if you're not even reading the words, then that should be like a big red flag as, hey, you know what? I could be doing more than that. I could be advising on this stuff. So like one of the things we talk about in the DoubleStack program is like, how do you write better copy? And not only how do you write better copy, but how can you get better copy out of your clients faster? And so that doesn't like draw out the whole program. And then once you have that skill set, you can apply it to more than just the website. You can apply it to everything you ever write for anybody, including yourself. You can apply it to your own website. You can apply it to your own email newsletters. You can apply it to your Facebook posts, your tweets, and anytime you ever talk about anything on Instagram, whatever, or LinkedIn. Anytime anybody's talking about anything, if you have the skill set of how to do better, and it doesn't even have to be stellar, right? Like most of the time when people send copy, if it's just one of those situations where they write words and you copy and paste it onto the site, it's like an F. It's like bad. It's like it's just an incoherent kind of a thing. And not only that, but everybody, like if you ask somebody to say, hey, what do you do? They immediately dive deep into the details. And one of the things that what we've been talking about for the last 15 minutes is don't dive deep into the details. Don't talk about SEO optimization and mobile responsiveness and page load time and hosting and all of those things. Those are the details. You need to talk about the outcome of once all those details are in place, what do you get out of that? Like, what's it going to do? How's it going to be different? How's it going to be better? And so like once you learn how to write like that, then you can do it for yourself on your own site. You can then turn around and do it for your clients on their site too. Or if they send you copy, you can at least edit it so that it resonates better with the audience that they're trying to reach. Audience is another thing. Oftentimes when you ask a client to write their own copy, the audience, they just assume, oh, it's just the people that come to my store, or it's just the people that I've been working with. And they don't really think through, okay, well, what are the needs that these people have? Where do they hang out physically and online? And, where can I put the content so it's going to get in front of these people? And what are their cares? What questions are they already asking? Are they asking other people these questions and I don't know about it? How can I answer the questions better than the other people? So those are some key issues that all just fly right over everybody's heads when you just get content from your clients to just copy and paste onto a site. And that's one of the huge things that you can do that's better than that. And you know what? It not only does it open up the door to, making it a better initial website, making the strategy of the website actually come to life, but it's one of those things that you can keep doing on a regular basis with your clients. It's one of those things that as you generate recurring revenue for yourself, this is one of the things that you can be getting paid to do, because every time they need to send out a newsletter, every time they need to send out anything, any kind of material, they can consult with you as to whether or not it actually fits the strategy that you guys have put together when you were launching the website. So that's a big thing. It's recurring revenue that doesn't require you to sell, technical stuff that's going to keep you on the hook 24/7 for people that forget their passwords or whatever. There's nothing the matter with selling web hosting, maintenance plans, search engine optimization, things like that. Keep selling that stuff. That, if you're not already selling it, then let me show you how to get a really nice system in place so you can do a lot of that stuff and kind of offload the technical burden of it, but still be able to enjoy the benefits of having a consistent platform where all your websites are, so that, if somebody needs something, you can just quickly do it. And you don't have to relearn the hosting platform all the time, or look up passwords all the time or whatever. And also so that, you don't have to constantly be doing plugin updates and all that other stuff manually. I mean, there's ways you can streamline that stuff so that you can offer all the benefits, but it doesn't take you all the time. And that's really the issue. That's one of the main things about scaling your business is, you can't just be burdened with the stuff that's taking up all your time. And so we can get all that together. And so if you want to sell that kind of technical stuff like maintenance plans and whatever to generate recurring revenue, awesome, totally do it. And that'll start helping. But in addition to that, this content writing thing is a really big deal too. So that's another thing that can be in place, which is so dramatically different. So once you start getting that kind of stuff in place, then you're not at all the same as Wix anymore. And you're not at all the same as the guy who's selling a $50 WordPress site. Those are just implementers. Those are just people that are almost like robots or something. It's all they bring to the table is labor. And nobody's bringing any sort of leadership or direction or creativity. And the biggest problem with all of that is, why on earth would anybody assume that when you get a client that they're better at the internet than you? You are the internet. You build the internet. You work with it all the time. You know what WordPress can do. You know all of this stuff. So why would anyone assume that when the client calls you, that you're going to do all of the things that they say just like they say it, and just bring the yes I can do it attitude to the table, as opposed to, hey, okay, I hear what you're saying. I get that you want to, say, for example, people, you want to drive people to make phone calls. Say, for example, you're working with a doctor and the big thing that they want people to do is, find their website, read about what they can offer, and then call the office and schedule an appointment to come in or whatever. If that's, listen to that sort of stuff and then go into your giant toolbox of all the things that you know how to do and say, okay, hey, look, here's what I know works with that kind of conversion. And then put that stuff in place. And you ought to be able to come to the table with stuff that your clients never even heard of before. Or if they had, they didn't know it was accessible to them. Maybe they thought it was too expensive or too hard or whatever. But the general gist of it is, it's if I was going to build a house, I wouldn't go tell the construction guys how to build the house. I'd tell them, kind of how I want to live in the house, what kind of features I'm kind of interested in or whatever. And then I would ask them to tell me, okay, now that I've said that, what kind of house can I get that will do those sorts of things? Because if I built the house myself, I don't know about load-bearing walls and, what kind of HVAC system you need with all the windows or whatever. If I built the house, if somebody built the house the way I said it, the house would fall down. But when we do WordPress sites for folks, that's exactly what we're doing. We're letting the client come in, telling us how to build the house. We do it just like they say, and then the house falls down, right? Because it's it doesn't work. It's they aren't the internet people. We are. And so that was the main thing that I really wanted to emphasize in today's talk, which is like, you know what, the WordPress economy is not shrinking, it's just changing. And the way that we interact with our clients, the way that we, the types of things that we offer, those are the kinds of things that really make the difference, and that differentiates you. It lets you put higher prices on your proposals without having to like risk losing the job to somebody who's just going to charge less. Because yeah, they're charging less, but they're not doing what you're doing. And so your client's going to see that. And hey, you know what? If your client's the kind of client that just wants the cheaper thing, then you can offer other things where it can be even, you can just show, like one of the clients I even work with, like I've talked about before, one of the things they offer is like a $500 package to show somebody how to build their own Wix site. And it's like a course. It's like a thing. And so like, that frees you up. So you can then spend like just a couple hours or maybe 1 hour and show somebody how to do it. And then they can just go do it themselves. So, but the whole point is do many more things than that, because that's going to be one of those situations where they build a house and the house falls down because they're not construction people. And so that's kind of the big point. It's like, I don't think that the WordPress economy is shrinking. I mean, and even if it were, it's still gigantic. And so that's not the issue. The issue is there's, more free ways to build websites, more people doing free work for websites, more people already have websites. And so that changes the way that we approach clients so that we can actually help them in a deeper, better way than ever before. And that's the high value aspect of all that stuff. So anyway, so that's the big deal. So if you wanted to talk about any of that stuff, go ahead and head over to doublestack.net/call, and we can do a one-on-one call together and get some specific details about exactly who you work with, what kind of rates you can charge for that particular audience, and what kinds of things you can do to actually start tapping into recurring revenue. And the copywriting, the content thing is just one of almost an uncountable number of things that you could be doing to even out your income, because recurring revenue is such a critical thing. Because yeah, it's great to get new clients, it's great to get that kind of a win, but when you don't have a client, if you don't have recurring revenue, no client means no income. No income is scary. There's anxiety there. How long is it going to be? Can you last that long? It's freaking you out. And the way that you solve that is by beginning to get some recurring revenue going on. And that's also the kind of thing that scales. Because whereas, clients, getting more clients, that's a really linear thing. But if you start getting somebody on recurring revenue, then, that kind of snowballs and gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And that's, of course, what you want to scale your business. So we can talk about how to do that too. What kinds of things can you put in place to generate recurring revenue for the type of clients that you work with? And there we go. So if you have any questions, go ahead and put those in the comments below. I'll keep an eye on those throughout the week. And we got another one of our talks coming up. We do Tuesdays and Thursdays at 2 p.m. And in the meantime, if you want to talk about any of this stuff, head over to doublestack.net/call and make an appointment to talk. So it'd be awesome to hear more about what you're doing. And that's pretty much it. So I look forward to talking to you guys, and take care.